Real estate photographer for like homes. I need a photographer that can do, or that's good with family photos, people.
I'll check with Mikey and then see if he'll do it for you or not.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. We're going to get rolling. She just sent it back out. Oh, look here. Now it's working. Now we're cooking with grease. Happy Monday, everybody. Did everybody have a good weekend? You can nod if you're too shy to unmute. Thank you, Chris. And Katie, thank you. So many things, right? There's like so many things happening right now. The market is nuts. We have mega camp coming up. Not to mention, there's just literally a lot of plates, I feel like, that are being balanced right now. And so today's theme that I've really been thinking about a lot over the last few weeks is reset. How we can reset our mindset, how we can reset our habits, how we can get, we'll talk a little bit about ruts today and kind of where we all are and just what's going on in general in this crazy climate. And so I wanted to start out with a story because basically what I kept thinking of is how are my habits today, or how are our habits today different than they were in January, February, and March? So what are we doing differently today? How are we communicating with people differently? Where is our workplace now? Where are we working? How is our workspace different? What are our travel patterns, or our sleep patterns, or our eating patterns? How are all of those things different today than they were 3 months ago? And we're going to touch on a few of those things. So I am going to ask you all to participate today, because this is going to be so much better if you aren't just like listening to the preacher, and we all can have like an interactive sermon. Would be great. So I read this story because for me, there are so many things that are like coming at you, right? Whether the things that are coming at you or the things that you have to deal with, or whatever. There are just so many things right now that we really have to be able to prioritize. And I've always been that person that I've never watched TV. And lately, I don't watch the news because I have to be very cognizant of what I allow in. And so, and I know I've said this before, I know ALC people have heard this before for sure, but I just am very, very aware. My daughter loves like very sad, melancholy movies, and I just can't watch that kind of stuff because I will literally drag for 2 days afterward because I just internalize those types of things. So I came across this and it was just amazing, and I wanted to share it with you. It says, a couple thousand years ago in ancient Greece, the great philosopher Socrates was strolling contemplatively around a community garden when a neighbor walked up to him and said, "You're never in a million years going to believe what I just heard about our mutual friend." "Wait," Socrates interrupted, putting his hand up in the air. "Before you continue with this story, your words must pass the triple filter test." "The what?" "The triple filter test," Socrates said. The neighbor just stared at him with a blank expression. Socrates continued, "The first filter is truth. Are you absolutely sure the story you're about to tell me is true?" "Well, no," the neighbor said. "I literally just heard it from someone else I know." "Ah," Socrates quickly replied, "then let's move on to the second filter. Is what you are about to share good in any way, shape, or form?" No. "No," the neighbor said. "The story is actually quite," he says, well, before he could finish the sentence, Socrates interrupted him again. "So it may not be true, and it is definitely not good." "That's right," the neighbor assured him. "Well, you may still be able to save yourself," Socrates said. "Is anything about the story you want to share useful?" The neighbor stared blankly again for a moment and then said, "No, I suppose it's not really." "So you want to tell me something that may not be true, is definitely not good, and is not useful to know. Socrates said. The neighbor looked down at the ground and nodded. Well, you have no good reason to tell me the story, and you have no good reason to believe it yourself, Socrates added, as the neighbor dolefully walked away. And I love that story. That's not something like to point fingers and judge. It's just, I love the story because we have to stop with everything right now and say, is it true, good, or useful? Whether it's something you're saying or telling or something that you're listening to, is it true, good, or useful? Because right now, we're all in a place where we really need positivity. We really need to be lifting each other up. Like, that's what we need. We need that loyalty and we need that camaraderie. And if you aren't feeling that, I need to know that, because those are things that matter. And so when this goes the same for the things that we're focusing on, right? The things that we're actually focusing on, are they true, good, or useful? Because if they aren't, we need to just kind of let it go. You know, the phrase has been, for me a lot lately, is just, I'm going to focus on what I can control. And that is nothing. Because right now, there are certain things that you can control, and there's a lot that you cannot control. So anybody get a takeaway from that? If not, just soak it in. How about that? So then the next thing is, and I don't know if it's going to let me share this, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, it is going to. Fantastic. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Lisa, Joe, okay, good. I'm like, I can see Lisa, Joe, and Jamie right now are the only three people I can see. Okay, so I wrote down here, you need about 63 to 65 repetitions of use of a skill to build a neural pathway. So its use is comfortable, and you become like, you kind of get on that path of mastery, right? Doing something 63 to 65 times. And that's from Chris Voss. It's a great book, Never Split the Difference. I think I've recommended it to a few of you all over some conversations. And the reason that I said that is, I think that we have all, I don't want to say all, because I don't want to put everyone in the same basket, but I know at some point or another, we've all gone at this whole epidemic, atmosphere, yada, 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 from a temporary perspective, right? I think that we've all looked at this like, oh, this is going to pass over, or, oh, this is just temporary, or, you know, what have you. And the matter of fact is, you have to start thinking about this differently, because those 63 to 65 days worth of repetitious behavior have happened. And so the reason that I say that is the things that you've been doing for the last several months now, that's what's stuck in there. So I wrote down here, what are you doing differently today than you did in January, February, and March? Who wants to answer that? What are some things that you're doing differently? And I'm not talking about just in your business, I'm talking about just overall. What are some things that you're doing differently now than what you did in the first quarter of the year?
Well, a big part of my business was always being out and meeting people and going to events and going to, you know, Chamber of Commerce events and, you know, and just pressing the flesh with people. You can't do that in person anymore. I would, when I would get kind of stuck, I'd hop in my car and I'd go around Ohio State University and I'd stop in 6 or 7 property management offices and I'd ask them, how are your rentals going and what's your strategy for next year? And I would make an appointment, as Gary said. If you don't have an appointment, make one. And almost every time I do that, I get a lead. And I go, these people know hundreds of people. I need to talk with them every month face to face. Like, most of them aren't around. They don't want a face to face.
Right. So how are you doing that now? What are you doing different? I mean, other than the fact that that's not happening.
I'm texting. I'm identifying the ones that are comfortable with me stopping in, and I am stopping in on them. Some people are open for business. as long as you got a mask and a way, and some aren't.
Okay.
I got one licensed realtor that I have probably done 10 deals with. He never asked for a referral fee. He sends me referrals, and we're not talking nickel 98 stuff. We're talking some strong stuff. And I reach out to him regularly, and, like after the riots in early June, I go, what happened to your properties? Did you get any graffiti? I just asked him about his business because
Yeah.
I do care about the guy.
Good.
And he gives me business. And so I've got 3 or 4 like that around Ohio State that manage or own millions of dollars of properties that I'm in constant contact with.
Nice.
Just see how their business is going.
Yeah. So just still reaching out. Who else? What else are you doing differently today than you did the first quarter of the year? Thank you for that, Joe. Nobody else is doing anything differently today than they did in January.
Kim, we have some clients who still aren't comfortable with us attending things like closings, and so that feels a little bit. They just want to limit the people in the room, so that feels a little bit different to try and congratulate them or give them things or just thank them for their business and all of that when you're not physically there. When we want to physically hand them something, even so. We just either send those things to them in the mail or arrange a time, later to go. We have several clients where it's going to be like down the road, we're going to set up some time to meet with them and just share those things. So in business, we're still having some of that. Yet on the flip side, we're having some people who are now just becoming more comfortable with going out. And so we just recently met with buyers who are relocating, and they're like, we finally just feel comfortable to get out and have this meeting. So I feel like it's kind of this, I don't know, really weird. It's not, April, but it's not December of last year.
Right. Well, I mean, you just basically have to adjust. I mean, I'm looking at over half of you are working from your homes right now. That's something different, right? And so when I talk about that 63 to 65 days of creating a habit, it's done. You've done it. So the thought of, oh, okay, I'm going to step out of this and I'm going to get back to doing whatever, that's going to be really hard to do. It's not impossible. It's just going to be hard to do. So one of the things, as I was thinking about, I wrote down here, does your environment support your goals? Because several of us are working from home. And I wanted to show you, this is where I am today. And this is what it looks like. I don't know if I can make this any bigger, but I'm not great at this kind of stuff, but we'll see. There you go. Okay. So this is where I actually physically am right now. That view is from over here. And so I today am on Zooms from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock straight. And so knowing that I was not going to have time to really get up and go anywhere, so there is a bottle of water, there's some gum, some notepads just if I need them, my notes. I have a fan because I'm outside. I'm at my parents' house, and the cleaners are here today, and they're generally here for an extended period of time. And of course, it's the day that I, have all this. So these things here are attached to like a 60-foot cord that's run out of our garage. And this mirror here is because I tend to have resting bitch face when I'm listening or talking or, really intense into something. And I have it so that I can literally just glance at it and see my face. Because when I'm on Zoom, I'm generally not looking at myself. I'm looking at everyone else. And my point is, this is the environment that I have set up. And it takes me about 15 minutes to get everything together and make sure everything's plugged up and working, and that I don't have to move because I have, like I said, 6 hours of that today. So does your environment support your goals? And I knew that if I were going to have to be getting up and going inside and, up and down and getting the things that I needed, I'm not going to be as productive. So, so what are some things that you all are doing? Those of you who have moved home, or that are in the office, what are some things that you're doing differently? What does your environment look like to help support what you're wanting to do? And if it's, oh crap, I haven't done anything, that's an answer too.
Well, I mean, it's your morning routine, or at least my morning routine has changed significantly because I'll get up in the morning, coffee, emails, do some stuff, and then about 9 o'clock, I take my dog for a walk. And then I come back and inevitably there's a Zoom call at 11 o'clock. So it's really hard to kind of like set up appointments in the morning to kind of, it's kind of hard to get going. It's like, we'll shower today. Maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't have to go anywhere, so why shower?
exactly. I know.
But I'm going to throw in a load of laundry, and I'm going to pay a bill, and then I'm going to get the mail, and then, I mean, it's like my routine isn't what it was in January, February, March, because we were in the office. And now that's all gone casual now. And it's really hard some days to stay motivated to do that. It's like I've gotten into this habit of just relaxing a little bit more than I used to, which is not a good thing.
Okay,
Or,
that was my next
I don't know,
question.
maybe it is. I don't know.
You just hit it on the head. What's your income like?
Not what it was, but
Okay.
there was a reason I did that because I was a little burnt out working for the Rains Group. So,
That's true. But now you're working for yourself.
right. So I don't have to work as hard for somebody else as I do for myself. I know that sounds strange, but
No, I understand that.
I
know
mean,
what
I was
you're
on
saying.
a treadmill and I need to get back on that treadmill to kind of get things going. But the lead sources are not as frequent as they were.
Why
I mean,
aren't
I
they?
don't, well, because I don't have Sandy Rains's pockets and I don't spend a ton of money on, Boomtown and Zillow and all that stuff where you have to jump. It was a jump ball. It was a constant
Understand.
competition with everybody else. And it's not so much anymore.
You have
So
a phone?
And those are things for another class. So, but what we're talking about today is what does your environment look like? What does your work environment look like where you are right now? Just look around. Does it support what you need to do?
yeah, I've got computers, a printer, I got file drawers. I've got it.
Who else? When you look around, like for instance, Meg, I'm just going to pick on you because I know your situation right now. So this is Mrs. Martin. Mrs. Martin, could I get a drink of water? Could I go to the bathroom? Mrs. Martin.
I'm actually at a home inspection right now, to be full disclosure. My client.
Oh, that's a good thing.
So yeah,
But-
but yes, I had the whole morning with my kid who is in 3rd grade and just, it's horrible. But
And that
yeah, I will
environment is
say, like
probably not conducive, right?
yeah, I mean, I've definitely tried to adjust some things with quarantine, just being thrown into it. We were in the dining room and it was just a total hot mess. And so I finally kicked my husband out of our office. Now he's in the dining room and he can figure it out. But I've tried to make our spaces a little bit more conducive for everybody. She has her spot. Now I have honestly took a lot of, because I'm the same way where I have dogs, they got to go out. Oh my God, I'm going to put in some laundry. Oh, look at the dishes. It's really, really hard. I actually called my doctor and this might be too much information, but I had ADD growing up and I got medicine for focusing, and it's literally changed my life because I'm not made to work from home, have a kid, have my zoo of animals that I have, and make money. So I've definitely had to change my structure a lot, but a little bit of the medication has helped. And then obviously this is just my new normal. And if I want to continue, I have to figure it out. But yeah, I took a lot out of our home office to try to get rid of any distractions. And I mean, it just doing this Zoom call here, it is what it is. So I think it's really good because you can do a lot of things, and yeah, you can be at home, and that's what I'm struggling with, even just office because I enjoy being in the office. I get so much done, but it's also, it's kind of nice to be at home and figure all that out. So I don't know. Ask me next year if I still live at the same house or if I have to live with my parents.
Who else? What have you all done to help your environment support your goals? Okay. All right. So the best thing I can tell you is for those of you who feel like you aren't being as productive as you could be or should be, and it's an exercise that I do with my coaching clients, is every 15 minutes, write down what you're doing. So that's another reason why you're going to always see, like, I have big notebooks, I have little notebooks, I have, because there are different things that I use them for, right? If I just randomly, write something down, it may or may not, whatever. I need to have specific things for specific uses. Do it in the notes in your phone, right? But every 15 minutes, and it may be I'm watching Netflix. I don't care, but be honest and be truthful with what you're doing every 15 minutes. And at the end of the day, it gives you much more clarity around what activities you really are focusing on, right? So it's maybe I had a conversation with a girlfriend, or I had a conversation with my coach, or I had a conversation with a coworker, or I took my dog for a walk, or what have you, right? And you'll start to see the patterns in what you're doing, and you'll start to see the amount of time that you actually have that you really don't think you have, to squeeze in a couple of other little things. So habits can sometimes lead to a rut. And does anyone feel like they're in a little bit of a rut? Yes. I mean, it just, it happens. And it's because I think mentally so much is going on, as well as all the other jazz, right? Like we just get into a little rut. And so I wrote down, we had an exercise in like a coach's class not too long ago, and it was about writing down 5 things that you value, or 5 things that you try to live by. And when you start to get a little out of focus or in a rut, that you go through and you read these 5 things, right? And everyone's is different. And I mean, and they may be a little bit the same, but I'm going to share mine with you of just things that I, maybe not necessarily affirmations, but things that I focus on when I feel like I need to change my mindset, or when I need to make a decision around something. So number 1 is hard work. I believe in hard work. I was raised around hard work. I had, hardworking parents. And I've always believed that if you work hard, there's really nothing that you can't achieve. So I have to sometimes sit back and say, okay, am I actually working as hard as I could? Am I working as hard as possible? What am I doing there? Hard work. And I'll share a little quote around that. If you want to look good in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands in front of nobody. So to me, that's like the definition of hard work. When I think of people that want to look good in front of everyone, well, what are you doing on the back end to support that, right? So hard work. Number 2 is clarity. And the only way for me to get clarity around something is to literally get out of it, detach myself from it, play like mindless games on my phone, or watch a mindless, goofy movie, something that's going to kind of like reset my brain and really and truly literally get it off of whatever's going on, so that I can really do a hard reset and get some clarity. Step outside of a situation and see something. I had a girls' night with my girlfriends on Saturday night, and they're all talking about, we hadn't been together for a few months, and we were outside around a fire pit, and it was dark, and it's just like one of those moments where everybody just starts confessing, and they all started talking about these things going on in their life. And at the end of that, I had some real clarity around how blessed I really am, because I was able to get outside of myself for a minute and hear what was going on in other people's lives. I even FaceTimed my son's girlfriend to thank her. thank you for being normal and kind. Like, thank you. She was like, okay, whatever. But that was a moment of clarity, right, for me. So number 1, hard work. Number 2, clarity. Number 3 is intention. Guys, intention is everything. Intention is absolutely everything. And when you come at something well-intended and you screw up, people know you didn't mean it quite that way, right? When your intention was mal, and you screw up, people don't sympathize or empathize with you, right? So your intention is everything, whether that's when you walk into a listing appointment and your intention is to make $10,000, or your intention is to help a family get moved into a better school district for their kids. Intention is everything. When you have conversations with people, if your intention is truly to help them, or to help them be better, or to help them grow, or to help support them, versus something that's about you, if your intention is to make it about you, that's going to be felt, right? Like, people just get that. So intention is everything. Number 4 is consistency. And you have to be who you are consistently. You can't be this roller coaster of, well, today I'm this and tomorrow I'm that, and then Thursday I'm going to try this, and then Friday I'm going to try that. And my son, you know, he plays baseball in college, and he's a senior, and he was having a conversation with a player that wasn't like a really, it was kind of a fierce conversation, and it ended well. And it was just some things that he ended up having to go to this person and say, basically, okay, what's going on? Because, you know, and it just wasn't a great conversation. And and he's telling me and his dad about it. And he said, you know, Mom, how do you think I handled that? And I said, I think you were very mature about it. I think there are adults that don't know how to have conversations like that. So I'm very proud of you for just consistently being who you are, right? And with an understanding that it's okay, right? He may not have walked away from that conversation liking you anymore, but he certainly has to at least respect you a little more, because you're being consistent. And so I got to thinking about it that night when I came home, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to shoot him a little text. And I texted him and I said, proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. You aren't going to be everyone's cup of tea. That's why they make other shit to drink. It's just how we talk to each other. And he replied back and he was like, #facts, right? So, but just be consistent, right? Don't, you know, sit around and tolerate something today that you aren't going to tolerate tomorrow. If that's your true core belief system, that consistency is going to help you. Like, my clients, my friends, everyone knows, like, if they ask me something, I'm assuming those of you who are closer to me or know me a little better, you don't even really have to ask me a question. You know what my answer is going to be, because I'm very consistent. And number 5 is to have an unwavering belief in yourself. Like, always, always bet on yourself, right? When it comes down to it and you're like, okay, well, you know, should I bet on this person or should I bet on me? Always bet on you, right? You may fall flat on your face, but just have this unwavering belief in yourself. And that's like a core value that I've taught my kids. Like, at least if you screw up, it was on you, right? Whereas if I put all of my eggs in Melanie's basket and Melanie screws up, well, I can't be mad at Melanie because I put all my faith in her, right? You can't get upset, and not that Melanie would ever, she's amazing. Like, you're just the face I saw. So my point is if you have this unwavering belief in yourself, things are going to go sideways and things are going to go bad. And right now, with what all is happening, there's so many questions and so much doubt and so much anxiety around what is happening for some, right? For others, they're out there just doing their thing and living their life. And both are okay, right? Both of them are okay. Like, we've got to come to terms with, if everyone just believes in themselves. So number 1, hard work. Number 2, clarity. Number 3, intention. Number 4, consistency. And number 5, an unwavering belief in yourself. And I just, for me, when you're doing all of those things, you can't necessarily focus on the outcome. You have to actually focus on the activities. So whether those are activities that you're doing in your current environment, however comfortable or not that it is, whatever the case may be, whatever those activities are, like Joe said, still reaching out and calling people, or still meeting with people. Like if you focus on those activities, I promise you, you'll get results. But if you're only focusing on the results, it's going to be really, really hard to be consistent with your activities. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So for instance, when Jody and Jeff and Joanne were talking about in the Legion mastermind that we had outside, which was amazing, by the way, like that was phenomenal to see people, like physically see people and like actually hear voices through a real microphone. It was so cool. But the common denominator with all of them was the consistency in their actions, right? Like they weren't focusing on, I know at one point Jeff said something to the effect of, I did something for 3 years before I saw a result. If he had only focused on the outcome, he would have stopped a long time ago. And I was having a conversation with my daughter the other day about just trying to change the way that I eat, which is really hard when I'm on the road or I don't have a home and you can't go to the grocery store and you can't prepare food and you have to, right? Like it's all the things. And so when I'm there 4 days a week and I'm eating out all 12 meals, it's hard to make consistently good choices. And every bad choice compounds. And every good choice compounds. So you can't just look at what you're doing today and think, oh, this is the outcome, because it's not. It's the compound effect of all of those little things that you do. So that's why I say it's okay if you're watching Netflix or walking your dog or doing laundry. Like we all have to do those things. So don't beat yourself up over it. Just focus more on the small activities that you can actually be consistent with. And those are going to be the little wins that you celebrate at the end of the day that kind of help get you through to the next one. Any comments on any of that? I know it was a lot, but is it at least like makes a little bit of sense? Like I think another big thing is people are just so hard on themselves right now of, oh, I'm not doing what I need to be doing, or I'm not doing the same things I used to do, or, you know, and just let that go. Like it's a new day, wipe it clean and move on. Zig Ziglar says, you are free to choose, but the choices you make today will determine what you will have, be, and do in the tomorrow of your life. And that goes back to that thing I was talking about, compound. And so it's really thinking about, okay, what is it that I really want to do today? Because if you're fighting yourself to do something, you don't want to do it. Like if you're consistently fighting yourself to do something, let it go. Like do something else, right? If you're just like, I can't do it, I can't meal prep, I can't eat well, whatever, then just be content with who you are and how you eat, right? Like stop beating yourself up because you aren't this perception or whatever thing that you think you're supposed to be or be doing, because it's just not it. Okay, so I said, what are you, when I was talking about the quote of if you want to look good in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands in front of nobody. I wrote down below that, what are some examples? What are some examples of people that you know of that do that? Like when I think of that, I think immediately of like Michael Jordan, right? Of like being in the gym and practicing and doing his thing when no one else was around. Or what's the MMA fighter, the Irish guy?
Conor McGregor.
Yes, Conor McGregor. I think of him, right? Like he's the dude that's just like in the gym pounding it when everybody else is out partying. Like he's so willing to put that work in when nobody's watching him. Who else can you think of? Gotta be somebody. Come on, think, hurry, quick. Who is it?
Rocky Balboa.
Rocky. Perfect. Thank you, Melanie. Who else?
The tennis player, the woman.
Which
The woman, her sister and her play tennis.
Serena Williams, Venus.
Serena.
Venus and Serena. Just grunt when you're doing it. Yeah. Who else? What else?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods. Who else?
Wayne Gretzky.
Who?
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky. Excellent. Who else? Outwork people. They're willing to outwork people. Kobe Bryant. Right? Because they're focused on the things that actually matter, right? They're focused on the activities. They are not focused on the outcome.
Gary Keller.
Gary Keller. So the reason I'm saying these things to you all is get on YouTube and like Google. I mean, Conor McGregor is an amazing one. If you'll look him up, there's like an amazing, I don't know if it was on TED Talks or inspirational videos. Anyway, I use a clip of him in our, we're going to be doing, those dates are going to be coming out. And there's a video clip of him and he's talking about this work ethic that he has that no one knows about, right? I mean, like, I think of my son. I mean, this guy literally watches everything that goes into his mouth, every vitamin, every exercise. I mean, he's talking to me last night about all the different increments of what he's doing today, you know, and he's 21. I know that's not what I was doing when I was 21, you know, but he has a goal in mind of what he wants to do and he focuses on the activities. And there's been so much uncertainty around his sport lately that if he only focused on the outcome, he would probably just be eating double cheeseburgers every day and going to bed whenever he wants to. Because if you only focus on the outcome at this point, it's kind of like, well, it may or may not happen, right? So what
Yeah.
are you, oh, go ahead.
There's something in the Bible. What was that? There's something in the Bible, something about if you are just working for the money won't come. You've got to work for helping people and enjoy what you do. And eventually the money will come. But if you're just working for the money, it doesn't. I don't know exactly how to say it, but
No, I mean, you're exactly right. That's exactly what I was saying about intention. You know, your intention is just, it's everything. And I think people feel it. You know, I think when they're around you, they can feel what your intentions are. You know, I mean, like Joe Jackson is like the epitome, and so many of you, I'm just looking at Joe right now, but I know when Joe walks by my office or when he shoots me a text or an email or whatever it is, his intention is to help me. His intention is to check on me. If he just goes by my office, his intention is just, I want you to know I'm here. And we've never had this conversation, but I know that. Like, I feel his intention, regardless of how he's communicating with me, because he's so well intended. And it's never about me, right? It's how can he help somebody around him?
it's real.
Do what?
It's real.
Yes. It's like this palpable, it really is. It's real. So thank you for that, Joe Jackson, because it really is. So what are some of the things that you all are practicing daily? Like when we talk about what you're willing to do when no one is looking, what are some of the things that you all are practicing? Like, and when I say that, I mean, what classes are you taking? Are you taking time to just think? I mean, I'm reading the book, Lead Yourself First right now. Well, it's audiobook, but you know, I have a 3-hour commute one way to work, so I get a lot of books in. And so Lead Yourself First is this phenomenal book, and it's really based on taking time to think, like really contemplate and think about what you want to do and what you're doing. And I've heard several people do this or talk about doing this in the past, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Like, who has time to think, right? Because I really don't. Like, there are days like today where it's just boom, 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 back to back to back, you know? And like Kayla sent me a text message this morning and she was like, your day is insane, but you've got this, with all these emojis, right? And it was just, that little affirmation was so nice to know that, you know, there was somebody there just cheering you on, like when it's nutty, because you don't have time to think. So just a little bit of time in your day. And for me, that's usually first thing in the morning or first thing at night or the last thing at night. right? I don't do very well with midday stuff. And I've talked to Gene Rivers. He has an hour that he plans out in the middle of the day. And I'm like, how can you do that? But anyway, he does. So classes, thinking, scripts, practicing CMAs, going through your database. Like, what are some things that you all feel like you're doing like on a daily basis to help you, I don't want to say master your skill, but to better your skill? And if you aren't, what are some things, some areas where you're like, okay, I know that I need help here, because there's so many phenomenal opportunities right now.
Yep.
So, I'm gonna, the very first thing, first of all, I need to know ahas from today. Did anybody write anything down or think, maybe that, yeah. Glad I hopped on today.
Just to, take it day by day and don't get too caught up in the daily motions that you forget who you are and what you stand for and what you want to represent.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that.
I like to write down 15 minutes what you do, because, I could start off really strong in the morning, slack off in midday, and then by 7 o'clock, I'm still responding to emails. So I have to kind of look at where my time is actually being spent. And I like that idea.
Good. Thank you for that.
Another thing that's going on right now, even if you don't even talk about it, is besides all the tumult that's going on around us and the demonstrations and the election, all of this and being home, it is, even if people don't talk about it, it's really affecting them. And so you have to laugh. You have to, when you talk to people, try to be as up as possible, care about them, not necessarily go into detail about all this stuff that's going on unless they want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. One thing I got last week, someone said to me, the reason I like talking to you, Barbara, is because you're always so up. Well, they don't know that I'm on medication. So it's easy to be up, okay?
They don't know it's synthetic happiness, right?
Right. But you know what I'm saying? You just can't get into that. Otherwise,
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. It's so very true. So very true. Anybody else? Any other ahas?
I liked the compound effect of the small things that you do leads to success.
Oh, sorry, Melanie. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
The compound effect of the small things you do leads to success.
Yeah.
Right.
And it all everything has that compound effect. You don't even realize it. It's those little things. So there is, I will never be the person that tells you sign up for something, do something, what have you. And today I am, because there are some phenomenal speakers that I know personally that are going to be speaking at Mega Camp. Mm-hmm. And if you need a little boost to get you invigorated again or to get you going again, I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. And I had someone that texted me this morning and they said, okay, real talk, should I do this? And there's been plenty of times when I've said to people, no, don't bother. That may not be, the best thing for someone to say that's in leadership in Keller Williams, but sometimes it's just like, don't. But it's going to be amazing. And it's one of the things where it's real talk with real people. They're putting you in rooms and in mastermind sessions based around the profile that you actually fill out. So it's not just aimlessly, listening to whatever. You're going to have access to all of the recordings and everything for 60 days after Mega Camp. So it really is just a very different opportunity to be a little more purposeful with it. And I just feel like with what's going on right now in the environment overall, just the climate of I don't mean like weather, but I mean, like the true environmental climate that we're dealing with right now. I think it's going to be a really nice boost. So there's still time if you want to log into KW and check it out and see what you think. Just some of the things they've been working on and still making it just a fun, phenomenal experience. The Market Center is going to be doing some fun things. And then I know the region every single morning is going to have like a little from I think 9 to 9:30 of everyone. And those emails will be coming out today if they haven't already, of just everybody getting together and, hey, what have you learned? What should I go to? That kind of thing. So just a great opportunity, in my opinion, to reset. If we're going to stick with the theme of what are some things that we can do to kind of reset our mindsets or our moods, I think it's a great opportunity for you to do it. So any questions from today? Was it 50 minutes well spent?
Yeah.
Is anybody like, dang, wasted that? Thank you all so much. I appreciate all of your participation and your input. I hope you all have an amazing Monday. And I will physically be there tomorrow, and I'll see anyone that's around then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.